Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another edition of Favorite Live Album by Year. Today we have arrived at what is going to be a long stretch of some really tough decisions to make. We're in 1970. Of course, 1970 basically started a long run of live album dominance, right? Throughout the 70s and into the early 80s, you had some absolutely monster live albums being released each and every year, seemingly like each and every week, which is going to make this decision each day fairly hard. So today, I had three that to me were way above all the others. And it really pained me to leave one of those out of this discussion today. But the other two, just they have to be at the top, right? Now it's just a matter of picking which one was my favorite of the two. And I'm gonna cheat slightly here on this one, because I think my number one might not have been my favorite of the two that I'm going to talk about in its original form. I think in its original form it was still tremendous and legendary and great, but I think in its later incarnation, when they reissued it with the full show, it really became one of the ultimate live albums of all time. I'm talking about The Who live at Leeds. All right, so yes, this is the deluxe edition. So originally this was released May 23rd, 1970, recorded in February 14th at University of Leeds, all right, in the UK. Released on the Decca and MCA labels, produced by John Astley, Kit Lambert, and the band. So in its original incarnation, this was a single LP, all right, Young Man Blues, all right, old blues cover, done very heavy, very raucous. Substitute, classic early Who track. Summertime Blues, another cover song there, okay, Eddie Cochran, great version of Summertime Blues. Shakin' All Over, all right, another cover song, Johnny Kidd. And then on side two of the album, on the flip side, you had My Generation, big and long, almost 15 minutes long. And then Magic Bus, very cool version of Magic Bus. That was the original album. Great, really great. But a lot of cover tunes, not a lot of Who original stuff. Still great, though, because the band, this was a live band. I mean, I've always thought that while the Who made some great studio records, it's like live is where they really became the band that they were meant to be. So it wasn't until, many years, in 1995, as a matter of fact, or is it actually 2001, the deluxe edition when this came out, right? Yeah, 2001. You basically have the entire show, and it's absolutely spectacular. So you got, Heaven and Hell, I Can't Explain, Fortune Teller, Tattoo, Young Man Blues, Substitute, Happy Jack, I'm a Boy, A Quick One While He's Away, Summertime Blues, Shakin' All Over, My Generation, and Magic Bus. That's just disc one. Disc two, you have the majority of the entire Tommy album performed live. And again, as much as I love Tommy, the studio album, and I do, I always loved when the band played Tommy live shortly thereafter. So for me, Tommy performed at Leeds, at Isle of Wight, and Woodstock. Tremendous. Absolutely tremendous. So this deluxe edition basically made the original single album, single disc version that much better. It was probably going to be number two, even with the single, if I only took into account the single. But I'm going to give it my number one pick because of the deluxe, because to me, the entire kit and caboodle is almost unbeatable. It's that good, that good. So my runner-up is kind of almost like a similar type of scenario, whereas the original release was a single album, and amazing, still is, but you're always left wanting more, right? And in recent years, we've gotten more. We've gotten all of it, right? So this particular band, kind of a new lineup, a new formation of Jimi Hendrix, called the Band of Gypsies, Buddy Miles on drums, Billy Cox on bass. All right, this is a funkier, less psychedelic band for Jimmy. R&B and funk and rock kind of combine in here. They played a succession of shows on New Year's Eve, New Year's Day at the Fillmore East in New York City as 1969 rolled into 1970. All right, recorded the original Band of Gypsys album, taken from various. Now, if you go onto their Wikipedia page, it says recorded January 1st, 1970. But in actuality, the recordings that make up the Band of Gypsys' original album was all the songs were taken from different shows performed that entire weekend. All right, but this was released in March of that same year. Capitol Records, produced by Jimmy and Eddie Kramer, I believe, also worked on this as well. And, you know, the original version of the album is, as it stands, Who Knows? All right, Machine Gun. Again, Machine Gun was played like 4 times during that whole weekend. The definitive version, which I believe is from the second show, is on this particular album, and it's the best by far. It's one of the legendary tracks of all time and one of the greatest guitar solos of all time. You've got Changes, right? That's a Buddy Miles tune, upbeat and funky. You got Power to Love, Message of Love, and We Gotta Live Together. So, you know, all told, the original album, how long was this actually? I don't know, about 40 minutes, thereabouts, right? Something like that. But it wasn't, you know, again, over the years, you hear all these stories, and then you see the set list of what was played that entire weekend. And, you know, he threw in some older favorites, some other stuff. And it wasn't until, you know, real recently where we get the songs for Groovy Children, the complete Fillmore concerts, right? Where you get the entire weekend all here. All right, so, and granted, you could arguably say, and you'd probably be true, that some of the best material was saved for the Band of Gypsys album that was originally released. I think it probably makes sense, since they were trying to push this new Band of Jimmys, that they did not include the band playing, you know, old classics, you know, like Purple Haze and, you know, Manic Depression Fire and all the other things which were played that weekend, Foxy Lady, so on and so forth. So it made sense, I think, at the time, because he was promoting this new band, which ironically never did anything else after this, which is the sad thing. So in hindsight, would it have been better to release a double live album, right, with all of the cool stuff? Probably. But that's, you know, they were envisioning that this was going to be the next big band that was going to take over the world. And unfortunately, you know, Jimmy didn't live that much longer after this. That's the sad part of it. But yeah, but a legendary, even in its single disc, single album version, it's absolutely killer. I'm going to give the slight nod to The Who just because of the ferocity of these performances are just absolutely amazing. Whether it's the original single album or the deluxe edition, it's just absolutely great. Just so you guys know, because I'm going to throw it out there because I can't not mention it. My number 3 was Grand Funk Railroad, the live album. Love it. I mean, it would have been, if it wasn't for these two, I would have been talking about that one. But I love it to death. But can't deny these 2 albums here. So in the comments below, please list your favorite live album from 1970. Remember, I'm going by release dates. So you know, the great thing about doing it by release date is that when we get into like the late 80s and into the 90s, not a lot of live albums coming out then, but a lot of stuff from the vaults. A lot of these archival live things are coming out from stuff from the 60s and 70s, right? So that, you know, when the actual new live releases are kind of thin, we get all those archival releases. So the 90s will see a lot of that. So we can kind of go and revisit some of the archival recordings that were released way after the original recorded dates, right? So that's why I'm doing it that way. So yeah, live at Leeds, Band of Gypsys. Those are my picks for today. List yours below and visit us on the web at www.seaoftranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, of course, we're here on YouTube all the damn time. It doesn't get any easier. 1971, woo, 72, 73, man, the rest of the decade is very, very tough. A lot of good ones. 76, 77, 78, 79, so many great ones. So stay tuned for each and every day throughout the month of September as we revisit favorite live albums in each day, each year, and visit us on the web at www. I think I already said that, so I'm not going to say it again. Tune in. What do we got coming up this weekend? Tune in on Sunday for album homework assignment. Stephen Reed goes up against Simon Bray, the UK connection. one of the funniest episodes you will ever see on this channel, so make sure you do not miss it. That'll be premiering, I believe, at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday. It's a fun episode. You'll hear about a couple albums that you may never have heard before, and watching these two guys describe their experiences with these albums was absolutely priceless. So I was just kind of like an innocent bystander, just having a great time with it all, and do not miss it. So thanks for watching. We'll see you all real soon here on Sea of Tranquility. I am Pete Pardo. Bye-bye.